the point I was also raising with Air Marshal Chopra and Air Marshal Kapoor. This aircraft has had a fantastic track record, flying 40 of these aircraft are flying, 220 of these aircraft will ultimately fly. Of course, Tejas Mark 1, Mark 1A, they will be, in a way, the backbone of the Indian Air Force in times to come. The project was marred by a number of delays. G404 engines is what this aircraft used. It's a single engine delta wing fighter jet, one pilot in this instance. But as we look at that last maneuver that was being executed, Air Marshal Chopra, you've flown fighter jets, you've flown the Mirage 2000s, you've flown so many different types of aircraft, and for close to 40 years, your appreciation looking at this last maneuver, the aircraft gets inverted, it does the roll, it comes down, but is unable to pull up once again and mushes into the ground. Is this CFIT because there isn't enough time and space for him to pull up? Did he come way down while executing this role, or could it have been lack of thrust or some other technical issue too? Marshal Chopra, can you hear me, sir? Okay, let me bring in
Marshal. I can hear you, Gaurav.
Go on, sir.
Gaurav, I can hear you. And firstly, I must say it pains me to know that the pilot, it's been a fatal crash, and the pilot has, died in this whole exercise. My, condolences to the families, and we pray for all of them and the Air Force for such a tragic loss of a great professional who I'm sure would have been a top of the line pilot. I can make out that the video that you are showing is from the flying display control, because you can see the computers, you can see the place from where they have got a vantage point from where they can see it. The second thing I want to mention is that yes, it is a downward parallel roll, which is primarily to position himself for the next maneuver. And in that process, he has run out of height. The aircraft has mushed into the ground. It is very, very clearly visible. The reasons are too premature to conjecture. As has been spoken by the other panelists, yes, there could have been a control issue. There could be a engine problem that could have developed, the loss of thrust. Anything could have happened. It could have been an error of judgment. We do not know. As I have done a couple of court of inquiries of fighter accidents, including of Wing Commander Joe Bakshi. We understand what goes on. We all have studied, the various displays that have taken place elsewhere in the world where the aircraft finally crashed, and we understand what they went through. But again, as I say, it's very, very unfortunate that an important display like that we have lost an aircraft, but outstanding track record. Yes.
That's the point that, I was trying to get to. You mentioned it has an outstanding track record. Air Marshal Kapoor, this aircraft is to be the backbone of the Indian Air Force in times to come. It's an indigenous aircraft, though as of now flying on American G404 engines, the 1A to have the G414 engines. But what would you say about the track record? We've had one crash earlier and one now, despite, years of flying the Tejas light combat aircraft.
I fully endorse what Sandeep just mentioned a little while ago. It is having an excellent safety record. The kind of flying that goes around in Sulur, in Bangalore, and the operational deployment now. This aircraft flew extensively for the air defense missions during Ops Sindoor. So it has got a wonderful track record. Now, the unfortunate part is that the environmental drain through which the water was coming during the static display by our adversaries and the people who don't like India's growth. Mentioned 2-3 days ago on social media that Tejas is parked in Dubai and having fuel leak. So this will add fuel to fire to say that the Indian aircraft, in an overseas flying display has crashed. So this is every accident is very sad. And like Air Marshal Chopra said, to lose a pilot is the worst feeling any other person in the uniform can get in the Air Force. Because years and years of training, skill, hard work, just goes in an accident and a crash, the squadron is totally shattered, the family is shattered, the whole system takes. So I don't know the name of the pilot, I don't know from which unit was he in, but it's very unfortunate, and it pains no end to anybody who's been in that situation to know that he is not with us now. It could have been a control failure, it could have been a fly-by-wire, it could have been a
Yes.
mechanical failure, the height could have been low, he would have delayed pull up. I don't know the reason. I don't know the reason. I don't know, and I don't want to speculate.
Oh,
Let the
absolutely.
inquiry do the work. But to happen, in front of the world, media and presence at an international airspace would, be putting, fodder into their mouths to, start putting out wrong things on the social media. That's my take.
No, you're absolutely right. For a moment, I want our viewers to look at these three different images that we are going to put out on our television screens. Three different images that we are putting out so that you have an idea of what transpired. So the three different cameras are recording this flight. The first camera shows you the flight, the execution of that maneuver. The second camera shows you how the plane is unable to pull up after executing that downward barrel roll, as he tries to position itself, the aircraft, for the pull up once again. And the third one, unfortunately, from the media gallery, shows you how that aircraft just exploded in a ball of fire, and there's a huge plume of smoke that rises there, that fire and smoke. So three different cameras capture this image. The third image that you see on your television screen is that huge ball of fire as the aircraft mushes into the ground, or just rams into the ground, as you see in these images. And Sandeep, this unfortunately will lead to a lot of questions being asked about the track record, the safety and reliability of the Tejas light combat aircraft. This is the second crash that's taken place, even though it's had a outstanding record as a fighter plane.
Absolutely, Gaurav. And it's really tragic that we've had two crashes in the span of just a little over a year. The last crash was during the exercises in Jaisalmer somewhere in 2024. And this is the second crash, of course, under very different circumstances. This was the aircraft was exhibiting maneuvers, aerobatic maneuvers at an air show where some of our best pilots go out for these air shows, Gaurav, and I can assure you that these pilots who are being chosen are probably the best that the Indian Air Force has. And to see this crash, it would actually raise a lot of questions around it. The naysayers will say that, look, India has possibly backed the wrong horse on this one. But Gaurav, as you and we know, we have no option but to go ahead.
I can't anchor without having manner in which these issues will be raised. And as Air Marshal Chopra and Air Marshal Kapoor were pointing out, these are issues that will be raised. There was speculation about alleged oil leak, and while all of that wasn't true, these are aspects, Air Marshal Chopra, that the inquiry will have to go into some of these speculative reports that were coming in from Dubai in the past 2 days, sir.
Absolutely, the inquiry will go use a, fine tooth comb, and they will go into very, very small details. They will look at the sabotage. They will look at every possible thing on earth, other technical status, pilots' physical status, mental status, medical status. They will go into serviceability issues. They will go backwards to see how much, what kind of repairs have been done on the aircraft. They will look at the FDR, not of this, that is flight data recorder, not only of this flight, but a couple of flights of the same pilot who earlier displaced. So they will be going into a great amount of details. But we all have watched this display not once, but many, many times, and including in Dubai. The aircraft, a lot of visitors and a lot of people on Twitter had said good things about the LCA display, and therefore all the more unfortunate but sure. We all have done courts of inquiries in Indian Air Force as the presiding officers, and they will go into a tremendous amount of detail when they analyze this accident. Once again, very unfortunate. A great professional has been lost in this very, very unfortunate accident. Also in a foreign land, our own indigenous aircraft, the leading aircraft, sort of has been lost. Yes.
I want to once again bring in Sandeep Unithan into this conversation. Sandeep, when you look at these images, when you look at the track record of the aircraft, what does this mean for India's Tejas journey? India is pressing ahead. 220 Tejas is what India will ultimately have. There's an order for 97 that has just been placed. But will this lead to some questions being asked about the Tejas, considering this is the second crash now?
No, Gaurav, I don't think it is going to take away from the fact that the Tejas is going to be the indigenous platform of choice for the Indian Air Force to replace the MiG-21s in large numbers. That decision has already been taken. The orders have been placed. The planes are being manufactured on multiple assembly lines. And as you mentioned, it will be over 200 Tejas, Mark 1 Alphas, and going on to the Mark 2s. This is going to be the aircraft that the Air Force will acquire in the next 10, 15 years. Of course, the inquiry reports, as Marshal Chopra mentioned, will go into all aspects of this particular crash, and indeed compare it to the previous crash, and to ensure that it is a safe aircraft for pilots to fly. And that is what the inquiry will look at. But the larger decision, Gaurav, has already been taken. Yes. The fact is that the Tejas is going to be the Indian Air Force's platform of choice. It is it's a pride of the Indian Air Force. It is one of the most outstanding light combat aircraft anywhere in the world. It's proved itself on multiple occasions. It has been flying 24 years, accident-free, only 2 accidents, Gaurav. That's a very impressive track record, and this is very unfortunate what we've seen before our eyes. It is heart-rending, but as heart-rending as these visuals are,